Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing good. In this video, first of all, Happy New Year. Even though it's not really New Year, it's not really a new cycle, but according to Gregorian calendar, it's New Year, so Happy New Year. Another excuse to celebrate. But there's a few things that I wanted to share. One thing I want to say is I want to talk about this backward approach to spirituality, I suppose, but I don't even want to use that word. It's this backward approach for growing as a soul, backwards approach for evolving as a being. First of all, it's not accumulation of knowledge. We've established that in the previous videos. So if somebody thinks that by accumulating knowledge they're going to be having a better quality of life and experience, that's not correct. That's still a mask. That's a clown. We always have the villain, the hero, and the clown. And the clown can be a villain that pretends to be a hero, or a hero that pretends to be a villain, because it doesn't really have yet, balls have not dropped for that person to admit the fact that he stands for something. He just doesn't want to ruffle the feathers, so puts on the mask. It's like, oh, I'm also a bad boy, even though he's not. Well, so I want to talk about this backwards direction. What the hell? Sorry about that. Sorry about this rude interruption. I'm looking at the Venus right now, or Venus looking at me. Right, the backwards, okay? It's so simple, but for some reason, most people approach it backwards. And so they're not evolving, they're devolving. And it becomes, for somebody who's been seeking enlightenment for 10, 20 years, it's much more difficult to wake the fuck up that there's nothing to seek than somebody who still kind of fresh and have not been conditioned for this idea to seek, that someday that's going to be accomplished. Or like another way of saying is that rushing to get old. These people are all rushing to get old, and they're looking for this end of the game as opposed to playing it. So and that is really backwards direction. Another thing I want to say about this is that look how backwards people approach it. And I don't know whether it's just a conditioning, whether it's a culture. Maybe that's, I don't know why this idea propagates, because it's kind of seems like a quick fix. Like, oh, I'm going to learn a little new technique and that's going to make it all okay. That's going to, that's the next breakthrough is going to be if I learn this little technique that this video is telling me, then it's going to be, a breakthrough for me. And of course it's not. And these ideas, like these clickbait videos, like fasting, or like a semen retention, or these backwards ideas, the idea that like if I'm going to refuse myself eating food, then that's going to increase my vibration. So I'm not eating meat and I'm not eating this because that's going to increase my vibration. Backwards. If you just face of what is, those emotions, that pressure or pain from where it stems anxiety and laziness and all these things, if you just face them, alchemize them, you receive the state of consciousness that you're looking for. It's right behind it. Okay? And then you don't feel like eating because you feel that energy inside of you. And you run all day with no food and all cylinders. And how the fuck does that work? It's because you alchemize that. Okay? And then people say, like, you fasting? Nope, I'm just not hungry because I feel like I have a lot of energy. You see? That's the correct direction. And then you say, what, are you not having sex anymore? It's like, I feel the same state of consciousness that sex would bring me. I feel in bliss. So, what sex could offer me more than that? So you alchemize the lust, and so you receive the bliss. You see? And it's not the backwards way again. Like some monks, like approach of a monk. It's like, well, I'm not going to look at the moment at all. And then they become these horny celibates. You see? No one ever grew up by retaining semen. No one ever grew up by fasting. No one, oh Jesus Christ, enough with this backward ass monkey. I've never done any of these things. I don't know whether it's intuitively or why not, but it always seemed to me weird, And so this is why people who go in a backwards direction, right? If you go in the right direction, you're clearing up your karma, whatever you want to call sanskara, like those distortions that are in you that needs to be alchemized into perfection. If you go in that direction, then that's a hero's journey. And what would be the opposite direction? What if some dude decides to fast, dude or gal, or refrain from exposing themselves in sexual content, or refraining themselves from being around women or being around men, because that will connect them to God? That's backwards, and therefore that's a way of a villain. That's a way of a villain in my book, because what's really going on, it develops a super ego. That's a mask of an enlightened person while actually being a villain, because they have not changed the heart of coal at all. And I'm sorry to say that, but so many people approach it backwards, and I don't understand why. And they have thousands of followers. Maybe that's why they have thousands of followers. I don't know. But they have thousands of followers, and they're all listening. Oh, it's, I'm going to retain semen now. Good fucking luck. You're going to become a horny celibate. And it's not going to fix anything, because you have not faced the real core root cause of it, which is a lustful response to that energy. And once you transmute that, once you alchemize that, you're still around the same people, the same men or women, and you feel the same lust energy, if you will, but it doesn't make you a sucker for it. You feel that energy not as before, as like, oh, I need like another hit, like a drug. You're just enjoying that energy, because it that negative energy comes to you. You can call it negative, or disorganized energy comes to you. You organize it, and inside of you, you feel ecstatic. So then you're not avoiding any of these people. You're still hanging around all these people. You're just not acting upon it because you don't need to act upon it. Because it's not a drug to you anymore. In fact, this is that brings me, well, I want to just say that um, it's backwards, okay? If anybody tells you like the fasting leads to enlightenment or um, semen retention leads to enlightenment, excuse me, my French, but tell them to go fuck themselves. Because they say, no, thank you, I don't want to develop another super ego. I already have something to work with. And so you go ahead and you play your clown mask if you want to, but I'll just face it at where it is at. Okay? And so you just naturally, it's not like you stop socializing with people, or not even like you may not even stop dating, except that it changes completely because now you're enjoying everything, and you're not interested in lustful sex, because it holds no value to you. It holds no value to you at all. But you become interested in sex that is through the connection, and this is why, like, the Bible speaks about sex only after marriage, right? But that doesn't mean ceremony. Again, it's all about people interpret everything about the show. Doesn't mean that you signed the papers and you had the ceremony. What it means that you had the connection at the heart. You see? And that's what it means. It means that you have a connection at the heart first, and then you can engage and go, to the funky town if you want, because it's not going to be the same at all. It's different world, okay? And like if a lot of people in my book, they haven't really, what they thought that's what sex is. They don't know what sex is. A lot of people don't know what sex is. They had sex all their life, but they still don't know what sex is. The real sex, through connection, not through lust. So that brings me to the next point, okay? And relationships. Also, like, how do you integrate this idea that this seems to be the human body wired for the polygamy and variety, and the heart for monogamy? And there seems to be a conflict here. Like, how do you live life? How do you have a true monogamous relationship? Not as pretentious ones that, like, I'm going to marry you and till the death do us part, and they say nice words, but inside there's no connection. It's still just a mask. And I'm not talking about this. The only marriage is, the real marriage is the holy marriage. And it's an energy. It's an energy shift, or whatever you want to call it. It's an energetical process that happens. It's just, you can't make a show out of it because you can't share it because you feel it inside you. So, but so how do you live a life like that, right? Of course, you drop this idea that you have to wait to the marriage to have sex, because that's ridiculous. But you got to wait until you alchemize everything that is in the way between your heart and your lover's heart. You gotta merge at the heart first. And when you merge at the heart first, that's one way, alchemizing, love alchemy. And another way to, let me just clarify this. So there's this monogamy and polygamy, right? Monogamy is love alchemy. Polygamy is kind of a, for lack of a better word, lust alchemy or whatever, right? So you, the way you maintain the monogamous relationship, but that's honest, the honest monogamous relationship by natural choice, not by obligation or a contract, okay, is by alchemizing lust, okay, because your body will be, maybe lusting for you know for flesh, right? um with many, and it's this type of part of you wants one after another after another after another. It just wants the variety. It's not interested in one person, it's interested in the variety, um if you alchemize that, if you alchemize that lust, you may see a woman, and then there's this lust feeling inside of you, and instead of going in that direction, acting upon it, you alchemize that, and you receive the result of that energy, and that fills you up with the ecstasy. And so all the results that you would have had, all the results I should say, no, like um in this moment, you look at a woman or a man, and you have that lust, you alchemize everything, and you receive that um, satisfaction, I suppose, or that energy that uh, that feels you content in your own skin, and not needing going out to do anything, physical. um, and the same energy, then, that because you're building up, you're actually transmuting then, the lust energy into light energy, and then you share that uh, transmuted energy of lust into light with your partner, so with someone that you're connected at the heart. But you're not ignoring the fact that lust exists, and that the purpose of it is to be transmuted. Like you may receive a lot of attention, lustful attention, but you don't entertain it in the sense, in the physical sense, but you just experience it, transmute it, and you fill up yourself with um, that result of that transmuted energy. And these people that lusting for you tend to calm down a little bit, because you transmuted all that energy. Because you see what I'm trying to say, and then that energy buildup that you have as a man and a woman, you share between each other. So it's almost like you alchemizing negative energy of lust into energy of love and light, which is bliss and peace. So that's why, like, you kind of need people who are villains, or villains, or playing that, still going on that direction. You kind of need them in order for you to alchemize that energy, and to have that type of contrast, to even need for the necessity for wisdom. And only then you have a need. But the wisdom is the answer. There's like a feminine wisdom and a masculine wisdom. And that's the only way where you're genuinely not going to want to have sex with other people. You're just going to appreciate them as souls, as beings, and you feel that energy, you transmute that energy, you build up that energy inside of you, and you share it with your partner. That's how it's supposed to be. There is no lust attraction. There's no need for the betrayal. You're not attracted in that sense to other people anymore. It's going from like addiction to appreciation, you know. And there's no jealousy either, because if you in your soul functioning like that, your partner will be functioning like that too. But you know that exists, that type of attention exists, but you're not worried about that, because you are alchemist, and you know that the heart connection is the heart connection. And as long as you both choose to be living life in this direction, um, eh, no one's gonna betray. But at least if one person does not want to be an alchemist and entertains a different type of connection outside your sacred bond, gone, gone, and it's gone immediately, because it's like you can't hide it anymore. It's breaking its fabric, because if you do this and it's you think like we can get away with it, you can't get away with it. It's better to be honest about it. But that's how you can be in true and genuine monogamous connection with somebody, and at the same time not denying the existence of the polygamy too, which is used for the to alchemize the energy, you know and and what else can I say? The only thing that I really wanted to say is that just move in the right direction. I mean, I call that alchemy, but really it's just the way to live life on this planet, to enjoy life on this planet, despite the darkness. Okay? Use darkness for your advantage. The very thing that would ruin your relationships in the past, now you use it to enhance your relationship. Okay? And there's no jealousy, but there's lots of passion. Jealousy turns to passion. Passion for each other. And there's not even a thought. To you don't live in denial, because like some men, for example, may act like, oh no, I'm just loyal to my wife and I would never do this. But they deny the fact that there is attraction there. So they use like the stoic willpower not to do this, but it doesn't mean that there's a genuine monogamy. Because if you remove that, willpower, or get him drunk or whatever, and he will do it. It's like, oh no, like I was drunk, I didn't know what I was doing. No, the alcohol is just to remove the boundary to show you what your real desire is that you're hiding. So I don't consider that a true monogamy. That's still a bit of a clown. And I'm not saying that the true monogamy is a very high standard. It's not a very high standard at all. It's genuine way. If you're genuine with yourself, then that's it. I'm sorry about this noise. But also I don't mean the dark way as well. It's like some people, they choose to be like an open villain, and they are they're not transmuting the lust, but they're acting upon it. They're in a monogamous relationship, or at least they say that they're in a monogamous relationship with somebody, but then they, at the same time, they want to have lustful connections with somebody else. And so then they decide that they're going to be honest about it. And so then they say how much they're interested in having sexual relations with somebody else and hurting their partner. But they think that that's honesty, That's still a very dark way of relating to one another. It's you see, like I thought that that's okay to accept the person as they are, meaning the person wanting to have other partners and so on. But turns out that that's not the way, because that is ridiculous. That's painful, it's hurtful, and it's nonsense. Um, but the real way is to alchemize that. But both people must be willing to do that. They must be willing to destroy their egos, and grow the wisdom in their heart. They both must be willing to do that. That's the prerequisite number one. If you have two people who are super interested and have their eyes on God, so to speak, then it's a wonderful experience. It's very authentic, but it's not hurtful. All energy is being transmuted, so nobody's acting upon it, and nobody's saying it's like, well, I would love to, to do this and this with this person, which is fucking ridiculous, and that behavior should never be tolerated. If you want to do this and this with this person, then goodbye. Pack your bags and, goodbye. Because what the fuck are you talking about? But if you face that lust, you transmute it, and you charge yourself up with energy, you don't want to do these things. All you want to do is make love to your partner that's connected with you at heart. That's what the real marriage means. It's not the documents, it's the connection at heart. But when you're connected at heart, if you're connected at heart, you cannot change your mind anymore and go back into, like, once you're an alchemist, you can't go back. I guess you can, but you would need to be completely retarded to do that. But you wouldn't be completely retarded because you have wisdom. This is why once you go on path of wisdom, there's no way back. And if somebody goes on the path of a villain, there's nothing you can do about that to put them on this direction as well. That's what I found out to be the case. Anyway, but good news that the true monogamy does exist. True gentleman and true lady does exist. And there is absolutely a way to integrate the existence of polygamy and the monogamy in one experience of this game of life. And you just should be interested in putting that puzzle together. And if you are, it's totally doable. So anyway, hopefully that clarified things. And let's drop these quick fix solutions. Let's go straight to the point, which is always the same answer. Whatever emotional, energetical problem you have, always the same answers. Attention and awareness to it. And that will be the beginning of whatever you have to live with, I guess, Sometimes people call it a shadow work, but that's also ridiculous. There's no work to be done. It's just, sometimes like something is going on. You feel the energy, and you just remain still with it, and it stops being uncomfortable. You start enjoying it because you're not resisting with your brain and your mind. You're not doing any kind of work, right? If you can call awareness and attention work, then yeah, but I guess you can call it work, but it's just is it work to like look at something? Is this a lot of work? I don't think so. I mean, you may not want to look at it, but that's a different problem. And look, in my book, the way I see it right now, I see the need for all sorts of types of souls, because we do need to experience, this contrast in order to understand who you are. But at the same time, we have to understand the types of people, and it really is the type of person that already is alchemizing everything, and the type of person that's still looking for the tricks, hero and a villain. We have to be at least wise enough to understand who plays the hero and the villain. But it's not to say that if somebody's an honest villain and says like, well, yeah, I'm a kind of an asshole, and and I've got like a bunch of addictions, and I do this and I do that, then you can still hang out with somebody who is basically playing the other side of you, except you don't trust them with the money. You don't trust them, you don't turn your back on them, but you can still totally hang out with them and talk about life, and even though you're going in opposite directions, and that energy exchange may be useful for both parties to move a little bit more to the center, to become, for the hero to become a little wiser, and for the villain to ease off a little bit on his villainhood, and be interested in something that is more effective than manipulation. So those types of interactions could be healthy. The only thing that you can't have a genuine interaction with is with the clown, because they still don't want to take the mask off, and so there's nothing really you can do if there's somebody is being a clown. I guess you can still tolerate their presence, I suppose, but what kind of conversation will you have? They're just going to be talking based on the script. It's not enjoyable, at least not to me. I would rather talk to the villain than a clown. But if we know what kind of parts we're playing, then we're cool. Then we don't expect for the villain to be hero, you see. Um, um, and the first thing, and the oh my god, like the first thing that would, and these a lot of like spiritual people that went backwards direction, and they have like the mask. They're clowns actually. They're villains with the clown mask. Um, that's the most insidious one. Like I can deal with the villain, like I know what they're about, and if they're authentic, I'm cool with them being a villain. Um, like I don't consider that evil if a villain is authentic with himself. I think I consider that the real evil is when a villain is hiding the mask with the spiritual or a good person. That to me is evil still. Maybe someday I'll work through this and I won't consider that, um, or be more accepting of that too. But so far, the only way that you can and counteract this type of energy of a mask, of a clown, is to be able to read energy of people. Um, and a lot of times they feel totally naked in front of you when you read them. For some reason they know that you see through their bullshit. If you do see through their bullshit. But energy never lies. And it's not the eyes, it's not the words, it's not what they say, it's not even the behavior, it's not even the manipulative speech. It's the energy. And if you feel that vibration of a villain with a clown mask, and we had a lot of these, we have a lot of these people, and in the place where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's I'm sorry to say, but a lot of these people are in churches, in monasteries. In it's like that's how they hide themselves. Um, and there's no energy police there. You know, if there would be, then they would not give out. But the people there as well, you know, at the highest level, they probably are the same, just wearing a mask, as you know, like a Satan worshipper, having like a priest garments and whatever. That's pretty much what you see. Anyway, I digress. As long as you cannot be fooled, you're good. Um, then there won't be anger or rage against this, because the anger and rage happens when they trick you, and when they pull your empathy strings. And that's the thing, because you want to keep your empathy with your fellow heroes, right? And maybe even for the villains. But you never do it for these, because they pretend to be one, but they're actually another. And that's why they're interested in stealing your energy. But if somebody, for example, is open, and you can see that they're actually playing a villain, then you know what to expect. It's not as deceitful. And you know, I'm not gonna mention too many names, but you can probably feel their energy. If you can feel their energy, there's a lot of these gurus. Some of them are a little sad. um, Clown mask. Okay. All right, that's enough. 37 minutes. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Peace.